one way or another way, but I living here in Harrison Hot Springs for 20 plus years, and I don't like what I see. That's why for the last 4 elections, I try to make some difference by getting elected, but I didn't have a chance so far, and because the density of this village is, we are a small village, and I would like in my mind to keep it as a small village for city slickers to come to visit us in the summer. They can run away from Vancouver. But right now, all the land is building very fast, and we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the road, we don't have the sewer plant for these instant grow, and I would like to see what we can do with the high utilities cost, and also many other small things which technically I can bring it to the village. My knowledge, I can bring it to the village advantage and make some changes. Please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out tonight. I'm Samantha Piper, and I'm running for mayor. I've enjoyed serving our community for the past 2 terms as councillor. I have lived in Harrison since 2013 and neighboring communities previously. I'm a wife to an incredibly supportive, caring, and just all-around good human. Together, we have the pleasure of watching our 3 adult children carve out their successful lives. And we have a grandchild that brings us new experiences, laughs, and incredible pride. Last but not least, I'm also a proud daughter, sister, aunt, and loyal friend. I've dedicated my professional career to working in municipal government for 28 years now, and as a political leader for the past 8 years. My calling is to serve in local government. My career allows me to deploy my greatest strengths, facilitating team, engaging the public, and building relationships, all of which I bring with me into the political arena. My natural skills, experience, knowledge, and dedication not only make me for a full resume, but also makes for an ideal mayor. A small snip of my education includes a local government political administrative alignment imperative certificate with Dalhousie University, public relations diploma with UVic, leadership in conflict resolution with JIBC, public participation with IIP2, Indigenous Canada certificate with the University of Alberta, Indigenous awareness with Indigenous Corporate Training Inc., and a level 3 certificate of excellence in local government leadership with the LGLA certificate program. I have deep knowledge of municipal government and a vast range of contacts due to my years of service in local government. My past council portfolios serving as a council liaison on boards, committees, and associations include Fraser Valley Aboriginal Relations Committee, Fraser Health Municipal Government Advisory Council, 2 terms as a director-at-large for the Lower Mainland Local Government Association, Kent Harrison Joint Emergency Program Committee, Corrections Canada Citizens Advisory Committee at Mountain Institution, Harrison Agassiz Chamber of Commerce, Fraser Valley Regional Library Board as an alternate, Tourism Harrison River Valley, Lettsmont Community to Community Forum, and joint council meetings with Stalis. I also find value in volunteering in our community and have done so for several years with Harrison Festival of Arts, the Dragon Boat Festival, the Beer Festival, Lights on the Lake, Marketing Committee for the Chamber, Regional Pool Fundraising Committee, and Salvation Army Kettle. My platform is based on the pillars of relationship building, community, and purpose-driven governance, where I believe one can't have one without the other. We need to push forward for generations to come. Any future initiatives, tasks, and projects should be woven together with trust.
Please go ahead, Leo.
Good evening, everyone. All the best to those running for office, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this all candidates meeting. I've been fortunate in all my years as a councillor and mayor to have worked with a good majority of councillors and staff, with most of my time here in this community. I served on the Lions Club, the Kensington and the Harrison Act. As a Rotarian twice club president, received the Paul Harris Fellowship for outstanding community work and the Queen's Jubilee Medal for my work in the community. Much has been achieved in my terms as mayor. Those who have lived here for some time have seen the change. Several millions of dollars from the RMI, which is the hotel tax, and grants have come to the village under my watch. On 29 projects completed, 2.7 million in grants already this year. Tourism infrastructure, our infrastructure for wastewater treatment plants, water plants and reservoir, which are all upgraded for future development. New bridges, extension of the water lines to those on wells, new flood pumps and pump outs for the boats, new lights in all the village parks. Safety on our school zones, on our beaches, spring park upgrades are coming with new washrooms, ping pong tables, and of course the Arts Centre Ribbon, and the Courts Park where the pump house station is. During the COVID period, actions, weekly newsletters give updates on preventive measures, closing off Esplanade to deter visitors until May. Some of the easing restrictions came in and businesses started to open to the public. The Quarry on Hot Springs Road, the council led the way with correspondence to the Minister and lobbying with our MLA, arranged for the committees to meet with all high levels of government. Community, the introduction of Zoom meetings and more communication. Looking ahead, I would like council elected to look at some sort of seniors resources, affordable housing, rental units, an ambassador program for the youth in our village, selected committees, review the paid parking for residents, create another community garden and maintain good infrastructure. As a community, we have many unique views and concerns. I believe that what makes communities great is our ability to work together, respect each other's opinions, show compassion, and keep our ears and minds open so we can have constructive dialogue. Leo, why do you do this? I do this for the community. Many years ago, when my wife passed away, this community donated the memorial bench in her name. I'm an approachable person. I believe in getting things done. Let's all work together for our future and our children. On October the 5th and the 15th, vote Leo Fascio. We'll get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. You can go ahead, John.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and fellow candidates. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is John Buckley. I am a former Harrison councillor. I served 2 consecutive terms from 2011 to 2018, after which I did not seek re-election. That said, I have a thorough knowledge and understanding of the role of our policy and governance within our local government. I would like to share with you why I think I would be one of your best choices for councillor. First and foremost, I am a man of integrity and common sense. I have no hidden agenda. I believe strongly in fiscal responsibility. As a resident, I do not want to see my tax dollars wasted. I worked hard to uphold that belief when I last served on council and will continue to do so when elected. I am a man of my word. Residents who have come to me with their concerns know they can count on me to address those concerns and when necessary, make their voices heard in council. I also believe we should encourage total transparency in our day-to-day operations. I am retired from a 26-year career with Imperial Oil Limited. I worked from their head office in Calgary in the pipelines and terminal department. That career taught me to be an extremely responsible decision maker and to appreciate the importance of being able to work effectively with others. In order for this council to be productive, we must work together as a team. I am a team player. I am proud to report that during my time on council, we achieved several substantial goals and initiatives, a few of which were building a state-of-the-art water treatment plant and sewage wastewater plant, created the East Sector Park with its beautiful Spirit Trail with no cost to the Regional District. We saw phases of 1 through 3 on the Esplanade Avenue Street Enhancement Project come to fruition. I believe in networking and becoming involved. I represented Harrison on several committees, such as alternate direction for the Fraser Valley Regional District, liaison to Kent Harrison Joint Emergency, as well as community to community with First Nations and the District of Kent. When elected, I will again commit to be working as a full-time counselor. I want to lead by example. I believe my civic duties should not end in council chambers, but should be carried into our community. That said, I've been a very active volunteer in Harrison since I moved here 12 years ago. Finally, I would like to say that every decision I have ever made while on village council were ones that I believe to be in the best interest of Harrison Hot Springs. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Before you start, I just want to do a quick fix, just so that. Please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Ed Wood, and I am running for full-time mayor. I've lived in the village for over 9 years and have witnessed the village fall apart. We need a change in our leadership, someone that is not part of what we have today. Leadership is about listening, learning, engaging, directing, and building. Community spirit. I would allow true public participation in the village business. Presently, if a member of the public has a concern and they attend a council
Excuse me,
meeting.
we can't hear. Can you let him start over and turn
It's
it on?
turned up, because I can't hear with this mic. I can hear that speaker, but I can't hear this mic.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Start again.
Start again. Time, you already started.
Okay, sorry about that.
Let's start over. Good evening. My name is Ed Wood, and I'm running for full-time mayor. I have lived in the village for over 9 years and have witnessed the village fall apart. We need change in our leadership, someone that is not part of what we have today. Leadership is about listening, learning, engaging, directing, and building community spirit. I would allow true public participation in the village business. Presently, if a member of the public has a concern and they attend a council meeting, they can only ask questions of the elected officials after they have already made their minds and voted on the matter. It makes absolutely no sense to not allow questions or make comments before council makes their decisions. My education includes a diploma in engineering. I have a diverse working background, including many years as a municipal facilities, operations, and project management for the City of White Rock, City of Vancouver, and Fort McMurray, Alberta. I have a clear understanding of municipal finance, administration, board meetings, directly responsible for control of an annual multi-million-dollar budgets. I am an active listener, love to learn, a thinker, and a communicator. With my municipal management experience, engineering tech background, years of community involvement in the village, and proven leadership skills, it's time for a new mayor and council to provide the direction to make our village prosper. I believe in accountability. It is with your vote that we can send a clear message that we want real change and a true proven leader to provide that direction. Some of my goals include building the community spirit, form committees, allow informal conversations by the public in village business, engage, listen, learn, and build. Protect our forest. Stop the alleged village, sorry, application to remove the forest lands to the south of Cottonwood, east of Eagle and McCombs from the ALR. Quality of privacy in our homes. Ensure the draft OCP that allows for duplexes and coach houses to be built on presently zoned single home lots is not permitted. Protect our drinking water source, the lake. This includes cleaning up the Miami River from the agricultural chemicals and land-based pollutants. Lagoon water quality. Possibly open up the lagoon for better water quality changes. Smart development. Include green space. The visual appearance. Stormwater management.
Thank you, Ed. Vicki.
Thank you, and good evening. For those of you who are wondering, correct pronunciation of my name is actually Mickey, and it is an old Gaelic Scottish surname that I inherited from my great-grandparents. I don't think anybody needs to apologize for that. If I saw the way my name was spelled, I'd be pronouncing it the same way. But good evening, everyone. Tonight you're here to hear from candidates who will share their platforms and their visions for the future. And I do encourage you to listen to each candidate very carefully. My husband and I have lived in Harrison for 8 years now, and we have lived, worked, and played in this wonderful community. In the second year of this term, we were stricken with a pandemic. To continue to ensure you had access to your council, we quickly pivoted. Meetings were moved to this hall, allowing for a larger space. A video recording system was installed, and once provincial health orders required meetings to be closed, Zoom meetings commenced. You are here tonight to find out what I, as a councillor, contributed towards steering us forward. For our residents, I want you to know that I listened and I supported increased capacity at the wastewater treatment plant, seismic upgrades to our fire hall, and the purchase of a new suppression apparatus, the new amenities approved for Spring Park, including permanent washrooms, the new eco-friendly skating rink, the urban forest management plan, the parking master plan, the lagoon redesign master plan, and the beautiful new pedestrian trail along McCombs Drive. For our businesses, I want you to know I listened and I supported the short-term parking implementation on Esplanade Avenue between St. Alice and Hot Springs Road. The 4 free 15-minute parking stalls for residents to quickly pick up items, and the loading and unloading for visitors. You're also here, though, to hear my thoughts on the future. We need to use available and future land planning tools to champion attainable housing. We must continue our advocacy for a second evacuation route. Our demographics are evolving. Younger families revitalize communities, and we must listen and hear their needs. We must monitor infrastructure needs and increase capacity.
Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Let me go ahead, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. And thank you, fellow Harrisonians, for coming out tonight and taking an interest in this, our very important village election. We only get to do this once every 4 years nowadays. I thoroughly disapprove of that. I think that we had a healthier community when we had annual elections, but this is the way it is. I'd also like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for organising tonight's event, and I'd like to welcome all those at home who are watching on whatever technology you have provided for them. I won't spend a lot of time citing my credentials. What I have done is I've prepared a 2-pager biographical statement, which is on the table at the back. There are 150 copies there. If you want to take an extra one for a neighbour, please do so. Not only have I lived here for the last 46 years, but I've used that time to help build this community to what it is today. I'm very proud of the fact that with the leadership skills that I developed in many years of business and sports, I was able to bring people together around various activities and form such organizations as this Chamber of Commerce, the Arts Festival with my friend Ron Gadsby and Ronnie Garreau, the Yacht Club, the Historical Society, the Women's Sports Society, the Tennis Club, and with John Green, the Sand Sculpture Society. And the legacy of that community building is enjoyed by us today. The community improvements that I was able to effect as mayor and councillor over numerous terms include the village office, which is a recycled historical building from 1889, the ranger station, the floatplane dock, the paving of McCombs Drive, it was a gravel road for many years, and securing of a 73-acre woodland alongside that road. I also got the Fire Hall Park, the Man River Greenway, and the subdivision trails during the 83 subdivision. My plans for the future are to continue to build and improve Harrison Village into the best little village in British Columbia. I'm intensely proud of it. If you see my cars, they all carry the I Love Harrison sticker, and I'm always promoting it. I will, like Ed, restore your civic rights. I will provide an opportunity for you to ask questions about the agenda before the meeting. I will answer your questions that you ask during the meeting. I will make sure the meetings are Zoomed and that they don't occur at 10 o'clock on a weekday morning when nobody can attend. I will lift the 5-minute limit on public comment for planning and zoning issues. I will expand the notification area from 30 meters.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your introductions and intro to your platforms. We're now going to move on to the next part of our agenda here, which is diving into our question and answer period. So we have prepared a few questions in advance here, and each candidate will have a maximum of 2 minutes to respond with the same timekeeper rules applying. So you'll see the 60-second flag show up when they have 60 seconds remaining. You hear a ding, and you'll see the 30-second flag go up, and ding, ding, ding for when it concludes. We did draw numbers earlier to choose who was going to go first, and Mickey was lucky number 1. So we're going to open the floor. We're going to open the question here with our first question. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you for the question. I did try to allay that a little bit in my opening statement, so I'll take my time to continue on. I think we should realize that our future planning tools are necessary to champion for attainable housing, but this must be accomplished with access to both federal and provincial programs. We must continue our advocacy to establish a second evacuation route. Your council and District of Kent have submitted a recommendation to the province for consideration. We all need to acknowledge that our demographics are evolving. Younger families, revitalized communities, and we must listen and hear their needs. We must monitor our infrastructure needs and increase capacity as necessary. We must continue our important work with our Stahela's neighbors to further our mutual reconciliation goals. And we must continue to encourage Harrison as a year-round destination. RMI funds promote visitor experiences, and many of us who are residents benefit and enjoy these amenities. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mickey. All right. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? You may go ahead, John.
Thank you. So over the next 5 years, there's quite a work plan required. As mayor, I will immediately take steps to review bylaw number 1184, which is the proposed official community plan bylaw. In my opinion, that process should have started with a review of our existing OCP, but I'm afraid that review would reveal that we have met very few of the objectives that were set 10 years ago, and we need to start on that basis. I also believe that the village needs to be cleaner and tidier. Most of our public lands are infested with invasive weeds, Himalaya blackberries, Japanese knotweed, Scotch broom. We, in trying to set an example to the people about maintaining their properties, don't have the moral authority to enforce bylaws so that we ourselves clean up our public properties. I also look forward to re-establishing more community involvement and reviving our Recreation Commission, our Parks and Trails Committee, and the other bodies that allow the public to get involved in council business and help to determine the future of the village. There are a lot of things that need to be done in Harrison, and I intend to apply the lessons that I've learned from my years on this council and in many boardrooms here in Vancouver and Victoria to provide the leadership needed to get things done. The job of mayor is a two-pronged job. At one point, you're the leader of the council. You represent the community, and you represent the interests of the people. The other job is to be the chief executive officer of the municipal corporation. And our little corporation is a multi-million-dollar corporation, and that requires a steady hand and direction from the CEO to ensure that it remains healthy and fair and gets the job done for the public.
Thank you, John. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? You may go ahead.
Stop the density of this village, because the high density what we have right now, 2018, the village has 900 houses and 1,400 residents, which half of them was snowbirds, and the roads was almost good, but right now we need a secondary road and we need a bylaw which all future development will have a sprinkler system, especially which the medium density buildings, which are practically, it's not the medium density, the fire trucks cannot get in, not enough turnaround, any accident happens on the Harrison Road, everything is burning down. Then therefore, that has to be right away rectified and not I will make for myself like a job to make sure we have these things done and we will not be barbecued in own time. That's it.
Thank you, Leslie. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? You may go ahead, Samantha.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start with strong governance. That's going to include town halls where you, the people, can be a part of decision making, especially at budget time. That will build knowledge, that will build awareness within the community and focus our goals together as we move forward. I look forward to creating additional committees, especially an accessibility committee. We will be deemed by the government to hold that, but we want our community open to everyone and accessible by everyone. I look forward to creating a Fire Smart committee where we will focus on the homes. I look forward to creating a Trails and Park and an active transportation committee. It goes without saying that we can only move forward if we continue to build relationships. That's with special interest groups, that's contact with other levels of government, and we can only do that together. We need to keep climate at top of mind. Fire, heat, and rain events is going to be with us from here forward, and we need to plan for that. Local government didn't necessarily anticipate the impact of climate change when our aged infrastructure was originally built. So we need to figure out what we're going to do now and move forward. We need to build on tourism and ensure that the RMI stays in place so we can all, as a community, benefit from that. We need to support our business community. We need to put our heads together and figure out how we can do that together as a community. And, of course, it goes without saying, we must support our first responders. Our fire department is small and mighty, and we must support them.
Thank you, Samantha. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? Can we go ahead, Leo? Yep.
If elected as councillor, and with my past experience with my communications with both more provincial and federal agencies, which have brought a tremendous amount of resources and funding into the community, I think we should be looking, which is one of the biggest things happening now in BC, is rental units. Businesses all over the province are suffering, as they do in Harrison, with lack of workers. There's nowhere for them to live. It's happening everywhere. I think it's something that has to be addressed. Also for the seniors who want to downsize from their houses or from their large homes, whatever the case may be, to look at also seniors complex as well, that they could downsize. The new bylaws should be brought in when new development comes in, so they have 5 smart materials. Medical services should be looked at again for the community. Our OCP will be looked at again in 2023. It was put on hold by this council that's in place now, and that will be discussed again. The Fraser Valley Regional District does the invasive weeding around the village, and if there's any reports that come to the office regarding invasive plants, they are looked after by the owner of the vacant lots. Crosswalks have been discussed with the ministry on Hot Springs Road, and speed limit as well on Hot Springs Road as well as upgrading of the surfaces on Hot Springs Road and Lillooet. These are things that have to be discussed.
Thank you, Leo. Awesome. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? You may go ahead, John.
Thank you. My vision is to see a well-balanced, productive community. We need to have a successful business community as well as residential. I believe that can happen with good governance and help from the residents. I would love to hear your ideas and suggestions going forward. We have a beautiful community in which we live. I am hoping that committees like the Miami Streamkeepers are totally supported going forward. We also need to have a good plan for our density and residential, more parks, and more playgrounds for our children. We do live in a little piece of paradise. Let us treat it as such. I also would like to see more for our children and teenagers to do. More programs, activities, someplace where they could hang out and do what they prefer in safety and just have a good time. I've heard that countlessly, that they just need more for our children to do. Also, the seniors could definitely use some more programs and also initiatives to help them when it comes to snowing and grass removal and anything else that they need, because there's got to be a drawing point. When I sat on community to community, I would hear constantly that they wouldn't have had to move if they were able to just have somebody come in and help them out. So going forward, I would like to all these things take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. What is your vision for Harrison over the next 5 years? You may go ahead, Ed.
main goal would be to allow true participation again in the village business. I think it's very important to build a community spirit through committees and formal meetings. We don't need the formal meetings for a small village like this. At times, we can have small groups, we can have coffee shop meetings. I think it's important that people feel comfortable to be able to talk without being under an order that how you must speak and what order you must speak and how you must speak. I just want to hear, I think it's very important to hear the various ideas. There are some brilliant people here with various different thoughts. Every thought is a good thought, young, old. I think again that's extremely important for us to build our community. An example is the development that we have seen on Hot Springs Road as we come in. That development has no buffer zone in front of it. There's 3 stories of ugly building right here as we enter our beautiful village. If we can't even get our development together, we've got major problems.
For the next question, we're going to start with John Allen. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential? Go ahead, John.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests?
Don't I get the question about your 5-year vision? No?
That was right after.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought everybody was getting that question, but I didn't.
You got it right after the meeting, and then it continues.
Okay, so clarify, which question am I answering now? Is it the 5-year vision?
5-year, you already answered that.
Okay. So economic development,
How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests?
and
Residential interests.
residential success,
Interests.
interests. Thank you. It's a new question, and it's a good question. My position is that Harrison effectively exists almost as 2 communities. You have the business community in the northern section across the Miami River, and you have the residential section south of that. And while both of those communities have a lot of interests in common, such as having a beautiful beach, beautiful trails, parks, trees, etc., there are times when there can be a bit of a conflict. A basic design flaw that has not been addressed in the OCP is the fact that the current commercial area is not terribly suitable for providing services to the residents. In a previous OCP, we had set aside and identified an area of land down near Harrison Holiday Park to be the service center, to put in the gas station, the filling station, the dry cleaner, the hairdresser, the post office perhaps, and all of those things that residents need. And there's no magic, there's no real problem in doing this, because you just got to look at Whisker. Whisker has got 2 commercial zones serving the residents, the marketplace close to the village centre, and Function Junction at the village entrance. And we really need to, if we are going to have a sustainable community that works for everybody and provides the services for us to be self-sufficient in Harrison, we have to look at more in planning than just the issues that are on the current agenda of the OCP. And that's where the vision comes in, and that's where the ability to travel and talk to other municipalities and see other solutions is what helps to make Harrison a better place. And I would like that we would expand our scope and think a little bit outside the box, or deny there is a box, and get on with the job of building a really great little village community here on the shores of Harrison Lake. Thank you.
Thank you, John. This will be for you, President. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests? Ray, go ahead.
The sustainability is a little bit very well done right now for so many buildings built, and therefore our cost of utilities should be lower than it is, and so far it's not on that way. But another issue which we can regard the de-densification of the village, because it's these fast, greedy buildings what is happening, destroying our village and making a city, which we didn't move here to live in a city. Therefore, we have to focus to combine the building, accommodate the businesses, which they, in 100 days they have to make the money, and stop the densification.
Thank you, Leslie. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests? Let me go ahead, Samantha.
Thank you. Well, that's a fine line, isn't it? We need to continue to attract new business and retain our current businesses and support them in any way that we can. And that's done through eliminating red tape, making it easier and attractive for businesses to come to town. With every decision made at the council table, we must keep climate and environment at top of mind at every decision. That's going to be issues for us moving forward if we don't keep it at top of mind. As far as council, we have to continue to listen, and our recent growth is obviously, with growth comes growing pains, and that is very obvious that we're in that period currently. So we need to continue to listen to our residents. We need to create spaces within our residential area that attract people and create a feeling of community within those residential spaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. You next here. How do you
Thank
feel?
you. Economic viability. Well, as we all know, we have two taxpayers in the community, the commercial and the residential. Our current taxes, and when I say current taxes, that's the line item which says municipal taxes, not other governments, where it goes to the bottom line, is not sustainable if we didn't receive government grants and the funding that we receive and the RMI. If we didn't have all that funding coming into the community, it would be extremely difficult to keep the taxes very low in the community without having growth. Growth helps the community to grow. People ask, why don't we have a grocery store or a medical center or some those other sort of things that people like to have without traveling. Well, with a small population of the 1900s, as the last census was, we can't manage with the infrastructure that we have. We have great infrastructure which is expensive to maintain, but we have it. But other communities, they don't have what small communities I'm referring to, don't have the sort of infrastructure that we have in this community. Yes, I would think that we should probably get together an economic development committee, which we used to have years ago. The residents have a say in how they would like to see the village move forward. I mean, it's important that the commercial, the businesses survive in this community. And they're going to grow. We have more commercial spaces coming. No idea what's going to go in there one day, but that will grow, which will help the community if it's something that the community is looking forward to having the community without traveling out of town. So these are things.
Thank you, Leo. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests? Let me go ahead, John.
At present, I believe there are so many options due to location of the commercial and residential. I think that currently we have a fairly good mix of commercial and residential. We do need to support our local businesses so they can prosper because we have such a short season. We can do that by working cohesively as a council to keep the hotel tax, government grants coming in, and the ability to listen to the businesses when they have a problem. It would all take planning. You would need to sit down at an open forum in Memorial Hall, taking your suggestions into consideration, and then trying to make things happen. And going forward with that, I believe that this would work, because we have such a beautiful place here. And there seems to be at odds sometimes with the business as a residential, saying that you treat the businesses a little better or you give them more attention. Without the businesses in town, our taxes would double overnight. We have to work together. And going forward, that's something that I plan on doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests? You may go ahead, Ed.
There's a lot of talk that we need to increase the density to pay for taxes. We need to pay for that to increase, or to look after our infrastructure. I've got years of municipal management experience in the infrastructure side of things. Water, sewer, lights, street lights, roads, etc. Do we need more development in the village of Harrison's Hot Springs? I moved to the village of Harrison Hot Springs here not to have more density. I wanted some land around me. I love the surrounding views that we have. I love the lake. Everything that we have here that nature has given us is something that we're blessed with. As government in larger municipalities have this philosophy again that development has to pay. You need development to pay. You need to increase density. We don't need to. I'm not against development. I'm just for smart development. We need to really look at smart. Businesses, you talk about the businesses with the issues here with just getting staff. The hotel has got numerous jobs. Every business here has got numerous jobs open that can't get the staff. Where's the staff going to live here? How are they going to pay for the rent? We've got major concerns. These are levels that have to be dealt with at much higher levels of government. The sustainability, our dike has been found to be, in 1948, the dike was to be at a specific measurement. In approximately 8 years ago, it was found that our dike just over the years has dropped to almost 3/4 of a meter. A consultant has since been hired, and now we need to raise the dike in some areas by 2 meters. That's going to change the whole waterfront, how we look, everything to do from Rockville Drive.
Thank you, Ed. How do you feel about the balance of economic development, sustainability, and residential interests? You may go ahead, Mickey.
Thank you. I do see one of the biggest issues facing us is the challenge to balance the needs of our residents, our businesses, and our visitors. We're all aware of the substantial growth that has occurred in our village. We're one of the fastest growing communities in the Fraser Valley, and we need to plan carefully. We need to keep new development sustainable and do our best to mitigate climate change effects through the use of green construction materials. We need to work towards making Harrison a welcoming village for everyone. We need to find attainable housing, as it has been mentioned. Where are we going to have our CMP, our nurses, our teachers, and young families whose parents teach our children and grandchildren's sports teams? We need to continue to work with tourism and the chamber and work together with everyone to make the village a year-round resort. I believe this is one of the keys to our future economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next question, we're going to start from